The urgency of climate change and the threat of tipping points. This briefing document summarizes key themes and insights from 3 sources discussing climate change, focusing on the urgency of the situation and the looming threat of crossing irreversible tipping points. Source 1 is the AMAC shutting down. Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation. This source is a transcript of a presentation and discussion featuring Stefan Rahmstorf, a leading climate scientist specializing in ocean circulation. Key takeaways include evidence of AMAC weakening. The cold blob in the North Atlantic, a unique cooling region amidst global warming, is a key indicator of a slowing AMOC. This is further corroborated by multiple studies using various proxy data. The AMOC tipping point. The AMOC possesses a tipping point, driven by an amplifying feedback loop where freshwater influx weakens the current, leading to less salt transport and further weakening. Passing this point could result in an abrupt collapse. Consequences of a MOC collapse while regional cooling in the North Atlantic is a primary effect. Global impacts include a shift in tropical rainfall belts, drastic changes in weather patterns, increased extreme events, reduced CO2 uptake by the ocean, and disrupted oxygen supply to the deep sea. Call for action. The presentation highlights the dire need for more research and, crucially, for stringent and rapid emissions reductions to mitigate the risk of pushing the AMOC past its tipping point. Key quote: "The AMOC is weakening. The AMOC has a tipping point. The billion-dollar question is, how close are we to this tipping point, and will we maybe push it over the edge already in the next few decades?" Source 2. Planetary Boundaries. The Urgency of Exponential Change. This source presents a comprehensive overview of the Planetary Boundaries Framework and the current state of the planet by Johan Rockström. Key takeaways include accelerating planetary degradation. Human activities are pushing multiple Earth system processes beyond safe operating spaces, including climate change, biodiversity loss, nitrogen and phosphorus pollution, freshwater use, and land system change. This is reflected in accelerating trends of these parameters since the 1950s. Buffering capacity under threat. The Earth's ability to buffer human-induced changes, particularly the absorption of CO2 by land and oceans, is showing signs of weakening. The Amazon rainforest, for instance, has already tipped from a carbon sink to a source. Risk of crossing tipping points. Several tipping points, like the melting of the Greenland ice sheet and the AMOC collapse, could be triggered at 1.5 degrees Celsius warming, potentially leading to irreversible and catastrophic changes. Urgent need for exponential change. To avert these disastrous outcomes, a rapid transition to a net-zero world economy by 2050, alongside actions to restore and regenerate natural ecosystems, is essential. This requires a shift from linear to exponential change. Key quote: "We are at a point where we are forced to ask the following question. Are we at risk of pushing the planet out of the basin of attraction, the stability of the planet, and drifting away unstoppably towards a hothouse Earth?" Source 3. Rapid-fire answers to the biggest climate questions with Stefan Rahmstorf, TGS 141. This source is a podcast interview with Stefan Rahmstorf, focusing on common climate questions and concerns. Key takeaways include addressing misconceptions. The interview debunks common climate myths, clarifying that current warming is unprecedented in millions of years and directly attributable to human activities, particularly fossil fuel burning. Understanding the impacts a 3 degrees Celsius world would mean a 6 degrees Celsius average increase on land, leading to extreme heat waves, droughts, floods, and mass migration. Ocean deoxygenation and acidification are also highlighted as significant threats. The urgency of collective action. The interview emphasizes the necessity of immediate and decisive action to mitigate climate change, highlighting the need for global cooperation and a shift towards an Earth-centered perspective. Key quote: "We have to have the awareness that we are Homo sapiens. We are one species on one Earth, which is our common home, and we shouldn't be fighting each other. We should work together to secure our survival and our well-being on this planet." Overall synthesis: the reviewed sources offer a stark warning about the dire state of the planet and the urgency of addressing climate change. The consensus is clear: human activities are pushing the Earth system towards irreversible tipping points, with potentially catastrophic consequences. The solutions are known, but implementing them requires immediate and drastic action. A global shift in mindset and a commitment to an Earth-centered future. The longer we delay, the more severe and irreversible the impacts will be, not only for us but for generations to come.